So experience should be a good thing. And we mostly look at it as a good thing, except for in practice. In business, sometimes people with most experience can also get in the way. But then sometimes we overlook the very experience that we need to get to our next goals. So we need to learn how to handle this issue in a good way in the midst of a culture that is moving very fast with a lot of new technologies and a lot of new approaches to things. So we're going to tackle both sides of this subject and see if we can't find a better way forward today on the Daily Dance.
Welcome to the Daily Dance with your host, Brad Richardson.
Welcome back to the Daily Dance. It's good to have you here. It is Thursday. What is it? Thursday the 17th? Did I get that? No, it's the 16th today. 16th. I'm getting ahead of myself, but welcome. Good to have you back. Thanks for stopping in to our little show here. Want to remind everybody that you can find us on several different channels. I'm pulling back some from LinkedIn for various reasons. Just the platform is interesting in trying to reach out and stay connected with people. I've been having a harder time doing that, and our goal here is to develop a community. So we'll still repost shows there for now. This might switch again. Anyone who's followed along, we go back and forth with LinkedIn. So we'll see how that's going, but we're available on Rumble and YouTube and X and on locals as well. And just glad that you're here, however you found us. Today we're going to be talking about experience. Those of us with some experience in business world and in different fields of expertise, how that can be a good thing, how it can be a bad thing, how we need to manage it, how we all need to work together to move forward. And there have been a few quotes that have come across the line today from Mark Zuckerberg and some things happening in the culture at large. Back to the soccer subject that I've been on in the World Cup. There's been some things that happened there that kind of pertains to this and made me think that it would be a good thing to visit, but I want to handle it carefully because it's easy to go off the rails one way or another with this subject, and that's why we want to look at it. But today, before I forget, this is the Daily Dance. We do our little dance every day, and the rule is supposed to be for you personally, before your day starts, before you step out the door, do your little dance to get yourself going. And look, I'm not a dancer. If you've ever seen me try to dance, you know that's true. The point isn't the dancing. It's getting out of your comfort zone, getting yourself moving so that you don't take yourself too seriously. But we will take the subjects that we look at very seriously. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and do our daily dance. All right. There we go. All danced up and ready to go. Good. So am I. So glad that you're here watching. Glad that I get this opportunity to do this. That's the other thing I wanted to stress. This show is only going to spread by you sharing it with people. I'm under no illusion that it's going to go out there and go viral and spread like wildfire. But I hope you find something useful in these little episodes, and that if that's the case, you're sharing it with other people that you care about, other people that you think will benefit. Give them the link, let them know to tune in and watch, and let's all grow together. Yeah. So experience. It is an interesting topic because a few of the things, there were several things that brought all this to mind, and one was a quote that someone had posted by Mark Zuckerberg talking about hiring and how he hires or at least hired. He may have simply been talking about the early days. I assume it's the same now. Hired people who are extremely smart, and even if they didn't have as much experience, if they were very smart, it always worked out better. You wanted people who could learn and could adapt, and were hungry, and wanted they were also interested and invested in the role and what they're doing, as opposed to maybe someone who's just a careerist. Maybe they have a lot of knowledge and they have a lot of experience, but they've maybe settled into a routine, which a lot of us want to. Honestly, right? You want to get to a place where you've mastered what you're doing enough so that it creates comfort for you in that role. And so Zuckerberg was saying that isn't necessarily the best or what he was looking for. He wasn't saying experience was bad, but if I had to choose between one or the other, if I'm reading and remembering his quote correctly, it's you wanted the smarter, younger guy who was adaptable and maybe a little hungry, and that makes sense. But the problem that I have with that is that it can minimize those of us with maybe a few more years under the hood and some more experience. But I was realizing that there's a balance there, because you can have the young, intelligent hire who is hungry, but maybe he lacks wisdom and how to apply all that, and they can very quickly and ambitiously run you off the rails, run you right off the road, run your business off the road, and do it all the whole while you're feeling like you're really making headway, and you're moving fast, and there's a lot of things that you'd like about that. On the other hand, you can have the experienced person, like I just mentioned, who you're sitting on your laurels. You're experienced. You've got um, years of employment in your role under the hood, and you already in your mind you've settled on a lot of things. You have so many things figured, and maybe you stop being curious. Maybe you stop having enough drive and enough energy that you bring to the role, and that can be its own detriment. No matter how much wisdom and no matter how much experience you bring, if you can't be invested, if you can't get yourself motivated enough to stay engaged and keep learning and keep exploring and keep pushing things forward, that that experience maybe doesn't come into play as much. It ends up not being as valuable because it's not really getting engaged, right? You're not as engaged in what you're doing. And so your knowledge and your experience isn't benefiting the organization the way that it could, because you're not putting the gear you're not putting the car in gear. Let's say it that way. You're not putting the car in gear. You have all this potential, but you're not putting the car in gear. And so both can happen. And so that's what I just would call our pluses and minuses, right? There are pluses and minuses each way to the intelligent, gifted, young, more driven, more energetic hire, and for the experienced employee, experienced professional who has all the years and has seen so much and has answered so many of the questions that need to be answered already. And so you're able to move faster in a lot of ways and make things look a lot easier because you are you've seen it before, and so you already have things in mind, right? When issues come up, and so you can hop quickly without having to take too much time. And what and what came to mind, another thing that brought all this to mind, is if you've been watching the World Cup, Argentina just beat England, and there's a clip for those of you who don't know. And I'm not a big soccer guy, okay. So this is stuff that I've been catching up on during this World Cup and enjoying this tournament. But Leo Messi, who is considered by many to be the greatest of all time, I know there's strong opinions, huge opinions about that. But one of the players from England, there's a clip of him going up and getting after Messi, and just kind of they're going back and forth a little bit. And then you end up with this little clip as Bellingham is giving him a piece of his mind, I guess. And you could see Leo just kind of going, yeah, okay, if that's how you feel, if that's how you want to play it, away we go. That is not the kind of look that you want to see in sports or even in business from someone who has a lot of experience and talent. You have experience and talent, and you get a look like that. If you're a competitor, you might be in trouble. So, but it's a reminder of the value that someone with experience can have. Messi is 39. By all accounts, as an athlete, he should be winding down, and yet he ended up uh, leading Argentina back and winning the game 2-1. And it was a thing of beauty if you're into soccer. But even if you're not, I think you can understand that. We've seen things like that before. I remember people talking about Jordan, Michael Jordan. You never wanted to get him upset. You never wanted to give him any extra motivation because there was enough experience and talent there that he could find a way to punish you for it. Well, in business, we're not necessarily talking about that same competitive. I think sometimes we are between companies and all that. But if we're talking about teammates, then we still need to understand that those with experience can be that effective. Let's call it effective in this case. They can be that effective, and can make your business look really good and make things go really smooth when they are so engaged. And just to finish up the that whole trail with Messi, is that then you end up that this is at the end of the game. This is where you end up if you go ahead and you rile up someone with experience and talent. Okay, experience and talent, and that might be the very differentiator that we're looking for. It's the experience and the talent that's still there, and those people are very useful. So don't dismiss. You can't dismiss someone just because they have a lot of years on them. Don't make the assumption that they have nothing left to give or they're going to be stuck in their ways. Now, some people can be that way, and you need to acknowledge that, recognize it for what it is, but maybe we need to just get past our assumptions about people, and we need to find out who we're dealing with. With Messi, it's easy to watch. Some of these great players are very efficient in their movements. Jordan, again, when he was later in his career, they know when to expend energy and when not to, what to expend it on. And if you give them a little extra motivation, a little something to dig in, sometimes, yes, us older employees, we do need something to get the fire going a little bit, and we need to learn how to do that for ourselves, guys. If you are someone who has a few decades in, don't forget, we do need to be able to motivate ourselves and get engaged in that way. But if you have people working in your company as teammates or working for you that are more experienced, don't assume that they're just coasting. Really watch how they're working and try to learn and extract the wisdom that is there, because you really need both. Listen to what we're talking about. We're talking about people with experience and talent, and then we're talking about people with talent and, let's say, energy and drive. Smart people on both sides. How can these work together? The synergy that we can get from both of those is amazing. And that's where companies get really, really good, frighteningly good at execution and at moving forward and at innovation. When you're able to pull in the wisdom from those with a lot of experience, along with the fresh perspectives and energy of your younger hires, those newer to the workforce. And if both can respect each other, actually, and learn from each other, then you can have a very healthy and robust work culture that can be very innovative and efficient, because you're going to be pulling the wisdom from your older workers who have seen a lot. But as long as those workers don't assume that their word is the final word, that there always can be some new insight, and they're open to that. And if everybody else then is open to listen to the wisdom and respect the wisdom of those that have been doing something for a while, seen a few things, you take that wisdom in, put it all together, it can be very very powerful. So respect the old warrior. Don't dismiss the older employees who still have the talent and still have the engagement. And but I would, even though I didn't label it, I would put the other side of that coin too. Older workers, listen, continue to listen to those who maybe don't even have as much experience as you, because different perspectives, you should know, can always help you find an even better solution than maybe what you've known. Which brings me to my last point, which is always be learning. Always be learning. The undercurrent of all of this is what we need to be willing to always be learning. And if both, I don't want to say both sides, there's not sides here, but if everywhere along the scale of all the different spectrum of people in a corporation, in a company, can always be learning and seeking to learn from each other and seeking to improve, then all of these different stages that we're in with regard to our careers can be an asset. We end up being an asset to one another because we are bringing our own unique perspective. And everybody has something to give. It's very, very rare that I've seen employees that's just not true of. That someone, it's such a bad match, either the role they're in or the company they're in, that look, this just doesn't work at all. That happens, but I find it very rare. More often, I think we just need to be willing to continue to learn from our workmates, to learn from our boss, learn from those who work for us, to be committed to finding the best solution. And if we're committed to finding the best solutions, then we're going to want to leverage the strengths of everyone. And to the point of this podcast, this episode of just experience, what we do with the experienced people, those with experience need to be enough servant-minded, humble enough to be willing to give their experience to those that can receive it, to use it and adapt it in a way that it is genuinely usable to the company that they're in. And then those who are working with them, if you're younger, resist the temptation to think that you know better simply because you have more energy. Maybe you're more technically adept at working with modern tools and all of that. Understand, people who have continued to stay, and here's the important distinction. As I was looking at all this, this is what I read. There is a distinction. Older workers, older professionals that have continued to stay vital, You see them, they're not stagnating. They're not resting on the laurels, but they've continued to stay vital. If you have those people and you're earlier in your career, you find someone like that, you want to learn from someone like that. They haven't just hung around. They haven't just milked the clock, but if they've continued to stay vital and continue to bring ideas, they continue to bring solutions, they continue to move things forward, that is someone who is, in the best way possible, dangerous, and you want to learn from that. And they're valuable to your company, and you want to reward that, and you want them around. They can foster an excellent environment for you if you find those people. So I think those are just some basic cursory ideas on experience. Yes, common across that is you want people that are smart. You do want people that have talent at either end of the spectrum. But experience, it shouldn't be the automatic checkbox of, oh, they've got so much more experience that they're automatically going to be good. No, because they need to be talented and smart as well. But on the other side, if you're somewhat prejudiced against people who have more experience because maybe you're afraid they're going to be stuck in their ways, they're going to want to do it their own way, fair enough to have that in mind, but don't prejudge someone who has that extra experience, because that extra experience can be the exact thing that moves your company forward and takes you to the next level, working along with maybe some of your younger talent. You need mentors and mentees. It has to work that way. Very important. So, what do we want to do? We want to consider the pluses and minuses of people, regardless of where they are in the career stage. There's pluses and minuses at every stage. Respect the old warriors, and I realize I'm somewhat biased in that. Right? I'm no longer a young warrior, uh, but seriously, respect the old warriors. See and understand how they've continued to be successful for an extended period of time. That is an amazing achievement. If you have someone who's continued to succeed for an extended period of time, you want to learn from them. Trust me. And then for everyone, let's always be learning. Let's learn from each other. This is not a zero sum game. It's not one or the other. We need fresh talent. We need experience. It all needs to work together. When we find a way to work all that together, that's how we take our businesses to the next level. That's how we achieve something amazing. And that's how we end up having longevity as a company and in our careers. It all works together and it benefits all of us. So, pluses and minuses, respect the old warriors, always be learning. Now, given all that, what kind of homework can we have for this? Find a mentor, be a mentor. That's simple. Uh, Humility to learn, uh, desire to give, all those things need to be habit. They need to be a habit for us, that when you have something to give, something valuable to give, that you're willing to offer that up to those around you and to help with that where you can. Uh, Try not to let your pride get involved too much, so that if at any given moment someone doesn't want to hear what you have to say, that happens. Be patient. Understand, we've all been that way. We've all been there. So uh, let's not write people off because of that. Let's still just continue to be patient, and have a good mentality about it all, um, and and then be willing to learn, be teachable. All of us at every stage. Let's continue to be teachable and understand that if our goal is to find the best solution possible, if the best argument wins, then we've got to be teachable. We have to continue to be teachable. Um, and that's, again, regardless of what stage we're at in our career. So find a mentor, find someone you can learn from, find someone that can help you advance your skills and abilities and mentality, and then be a mentor. If you've got years of experience that is giving you a perspective and giving you knowledge that you can pass on, do that. Be generous with it and help others to succeed with that. And Zig Ziglar always used to say, if you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want. And there's some real truth in that. Go and help, go and serve, go and pour yourself into what you're doing and the people around you, and you're all going to move forward together. And the end of that will be good for everyone involved. So that's all I have to say today. Thanks again for joining. Remember, you can find us on Rumble and YouTube and X and Locals. Would love for you to join us there regularly. Please spread the word if this is at all beneficial or encouraging to you in what you're doing. If this is going to grow at all, and it doesn't need to, but if it is, it's going to, because you all find benefit in it and you're sharing it with others that you know. And I would love it if you did that. I would love to increase the audience and increase the people having the discussions around these subjects and moving things forward in how we do business and how we do life. So thanks again for joining the Daily Dance. And until next time, remember, just keep on dancing. Thanks again.